Bulgaria might just be the most eccentric country you've never paid attention to. But why is no one talking about it? Can a place really exist where people shake their heads for yes and nod for no? Where ancient cities are still alive and forests swallow a third of the land? And how did this small Balkan nation end up creating the first digital watch? Or inventing the electronic computer? Oh, and did we mention Spartacus? Or gold that's older than the pyramids? This isn't just another European country. It's a historical fever dream. Let's explore 15 facts that'll flip your world map upside down. Number 15. Spartacus was born in Bulgaria. Most people associate him with Roman arenas and rebellion. But guess what? One of the fiercest icons in ancient history, Spartacus, was actually born in what is now Bulgaria. Back then, the region was called Thrace, a land known for its wild warriors and brutal survival. Spartacus wasn't some random gladiator. He was trained, tactical, and terrifying. After being enslaved by the Romans, he didn't just escape. He led a revolt that shook the Roman Republic to its core. Over 70,000 men followed him. For 2 years, he made Rome bleed. Here's a question. How does a man born in the Balkans outsmart the greatest empire of his time? Maybe it's the rugged hills of Bulgaria that raised him. Maybe it's in the blood. This stubborn, relentless resistance that's still part of the Bulgarian spirit today. And yes, we're just getting started. Because if that blew your mind, the next one might leave you speechless. Number 14. The Bulgarian army has never lost a single flag in battle. Hard to believe, right? But there's one military in history that has never, yes, never, lost a flag in battle. And it's not the one you're thinking of. The Bulgarian army holds this jaw-dropping record. In centuries of warfare, across empires and occupations, their battle flags have always made it home. That's not luck. That's obsession-level discipline, unity, and an ironclad sense of national pride. Ask any military historian. Flags aren't just fabric. Losing one in war meant disgrace. But Bulgaria, they didn't allow it. In fact, soldiers were trained to protect the flag with their lives. If you're wondering how serious that is, imagine a unit refusing to retreat unless the flag was safe, even if it meant dying to protect it. It's more than a statistic. It's a mindset, the kind that built legends, one battle at a time. And before we move forward, quick reminder, subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep uncovering wild stories like this, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Number 13. World's first digital wristwatch was developed by the Bulgarian Peter Petrov. You'd probably guess NASA, or maybe some futuristic lab in the US or Japan. But here's the plot twist. One of the most iconic innovations in tech history started with a Bulgarian mind. Peter Petrov, a Bulgarian-born engineer, developed the world's first digital wristwatch in the early 1970s. He was working in the United States, but his roots trace straight back to Bulgaria. Petrov's invention didn't just tell time, it flashed it. No ticking hands, no gears, just red glowing digits that felt like sci-fi at the time. And here's where it gets crazier. The tech behind that watch didn't just stay on your wrist. It led to developments in digital displays, satellite telemetry, and even space exploration tech. Yes, space. The Petrov company worked on telemetry systems used by NASA in early space missions. Who would have guessed that a small Balkan country would be behind such a leap forward in modern tech? Not just roses and yogurt. Bulgaria helped build the future on your wrist. Keep watching, because if this fact felt futuristic, the next one might feel downright upside down. Number 12. Bulgarians nod no and shake their heads for yes. You'd swear they were joking, until you realize they're dead serious. Ask a Bulgarian a simple yes or no question, and their answer might just flip your brain. In Bulgaria, nodding means no, and shaking your head means yes. That's not a slip-up, it's a cultural code. And here's the kicker. It confuses tourists all the time. People walk away from conversations thinking they've been rejected or agreed with, when it's the exact opposite. This centuries-old custom likely goes back to the Ottoman era, when locals had to develop nonverbal cues to hide their true responses. It stuck. Today, even kids are raised with this instinct. Tilt for no, shake for yes. Now imagine being in a high-stakes situation, like business, law, or medicine, and completely misunderstanding someone because you took their nod as agreement. You'd be shocked how many mix-ups happen this way. But it also tells you something deeper. Bulgaria is not just another European country. It's a place where tradition runs so deep, even body language breaks the rules. Number 11. Bulgaria is one of the oldest European countries, established in 681 AD. Most people think of Rome, Greece, or maybe France when talking about ancient European history. But guess what? One of the oldest still existing countries in Europe has been standing firm since the year 681 AD, and it's Bulgaria. That's not just a random date in a dusty history book. It's the official year when the First Bulgarian Empire was founded, making Bulgaria older than France, Germany, and even England in their modern forms. And here's the wild part. It's one of very few countries that has never changed its name since its founding. Over 13 centuries of invasions, wars, empires rising and falling, yet Bulgaria remained Bulgaria. No rebranding, no kingdom to republic flip-flop with new names, just a stubborn survival instinct carved into its roots. Now think about this. How many countries can say their borders go back over 1,300 years? How many can say they watched the Vikings rise and fall, saw Byzantium burn, and kept their name through it all? This isn't just an old country. It's a walking archive, a nation where ancient DNA still lingers in modern streets. And up next, a little liquid gold that flows from those same roots. And it might surprise your taste buds. Number 10. One of the biggest wine exporting countries in the world. Ask someone where the world's top wines come from, and they'll likely name France, Italy, maybe even Argentina. But here's a stat that'll make you pause. This tiny Balkan nation once ranked among the top 3 wine exporters on Earth. Yep, Bulgaria. During the 1980s, Bulgaria was exporting nearly 200 million liters of wine annually, putting it right behind France and Italy in global rankings. But even today, the country quietly ships barrels of rich reds and delicate whites all over the world, especially to Europe, Russia, and Asia. And here's where it gets really interesting. Bulgaria's winemaking tradition goes back thousands of years, rooted deep in Thracian culture. That's pre-Roman. Archaeologists have even found wine vessels in ancient tombs, proof that the locals were crushing grapes while the rest of Europe was still figuring out fire pits. So the next time you're uncorking a bottle, ask yourself, what if some of the best wine you've never tasted comes from a place you didn't expect? Before we move on, don't forget to subscribe so we can keep serving you these underrated gems. The next fact? It's even older than this one, and still very much alive. Number 9. Plovdiv, Europe's oldest inhabited city. You'd expect Europe's oldest city to be somewhere grand and loud. Maybe Rome, maybe Athens. But what if I told you that title belongs to a place you've probably never heard of? Plovdiv, Bulgaria. That's the name. And get this, it's been continuously inhabited for over 8,000 years. That means people were living here before Stonehenge was built, before the pyramids touched the sky, even before writing was invented. Buried beneath the modern streets of Plovdiv are layer upon layer of civilizations. Thracians, Romans, Byzantines, Ottomans, all left their fingerprints behind. You'll find a fully intact Roman amphitheater just chilling in the middle of the city. And guess what? It's still used for concerts today. But here's the craziest part. Plovdiv isn't just some open-air museum. It's alive. People live here, party here, fall in love here. The streets buzz with cafes, art, and color. You're walking through history while ordering a coffee. And you've got to ask yourself, why hasn't this place become world famous yet? Why is this jaw-dropping living time capsule still flying under the radar? Well, not for long. Because once you see what else Bulgaria has been hiding, you'll never look at this country the same way again. Number 8. The first electronic computer was invented by a Bulgarian. When you hear first computer, you probably think of massive labs, blinking lights, maybe something out of MIT or Silicon Valley. But hold up, because the guy who actually invented the first electronic computer? He was Bulgarian. His name was John Vincent Atanasov, and he built it way back in the late 1930s. While other inventors were still punching cards and cranking gears, Atanasov created a revolutionary machine that used binary numbers, electronic switching, and memory storage, ideas that would define computing forever. This wasn't just some quirky experiment either. In 1973, a U.S. court officially ruled that the Atanasov-Berry computer, ABC, was the first electronic digital computer, beating the ENIAC, which had claimed the title for decades. So yeah, a Bulgarian-born physicist changed the trajectory of the digital age, and most people have never even heard of him. Now here's the real kicker. How many world-changing inventions are out there, buried by time, or overshadowed by louder names? How many quiet revolutions started in places the world forgot to look? Number 7. The highest peak on the Balkan Peninsula is the Musala Peak. There's a place where clouds hang lower than your footsteps, and winds whisper ancient songs across jagged ridgelines. At nearly 3,000 meters above sea level, Musala Peak doesn't just scrape the sky, it commands the entire Balkan Peninsula from above. Tucked inside Bulgaria's Rila Mountains, Musala rises to 2,925 meters, 9,596 feet, making it the tallest point in the Balkans. From the summit, the view feels like a map unfolding beneath your boots. Lakes look like scattered coins. Valleys drift like painted brushstrokes. And when the air clears, the horizon stretches into a dozen different lands. But Musala isn't just tall, it's mystical. The Thracians believed it was the dwelling of deities. Soviet scientists once used it to test cosmic rays. And to this day, hikers say it doesn't feel like walking to a peak, it feels like walking into a portal. What kind of place makes you feel like you've stepped into something sacred? What does a mountain know after standing untouched for millions of years? Maybe Musala doesn't just hold snow and rock. Maybe it holds memory. And down in the soil of the same land, there's something even older, crafted by hand, sealed in mystery, and glowing in gold. Number 6. The oldest golden treasure. Before kings wore crowns, before pyramids touched the sky, before the wheel was even common, someone, somewhere, in what is now Bulgaria, reached into the earth and shaped gold. Discovered in a cemetery near the modern city of Varna, this isn't just treasure. It's the oldest processed gold ever found, dating back to 4,600 BC. That's over 7,000 years ago. But it wasn't a crude stash. The Varna necropolis revealed something wild. Gold masks, intricate bracelets, ceremonial scepters, thousands of pieces, all expertly crafted. Whoever made them wasn't guessing. They had knowledge, skill, purpose. And buried among them was the body of a man, laid to rest with more gold than any pharaoh of Egypt from that era. Historians now believe this could be evidence of the first organized aristocracy in Europe. Not just rich individuals, but a whole class of people who ruled, traded, and were buried like gods. So here's the question. What does it say when the roots of royalty don't begin with thrones or crowns, but with buried gold under Bulgarian soil? Before we move forward, hit subscribe so we can keep uncovering these forgotten treasures. Next up, we dive into something soft, fragrant, and worth millions. Number 5. Bulgaria produced as much as 85% of the world's rose oil. There's a valley hidden in Bulgaria that wakes up each morning soaked in dew and the scent of 1,000 blooms. For centuries, this place hasn't just been growing flowers. It's been fueling an entire global industry from the petals of a single legendary plant. Bulgaria's Rose Valley once produced up to 85% of the world's rose oil, the key ingredient behind the most luxurious perfumes on Earth. Not exaggeration. From Chanel to Dior, many top fragrance houses relied, and in some cases still rely, on this exact source. The secret lies in the damask rose, a flower so delicate that it must be handpicked at dawn before the sun steals its precious oil. And it's no small task. Over 3,000 roses are needed to make just 1 gram of pure rose oil. Now imagine doing that day after day, across hundreds of acres. That's not farming, that's alchemy. And here's the wild part. This industry didn't start recently. Bulgaria has been perfecting this craft for centuries, long before essential oils were trendy and Instagrammable. But the real twist? Despite its beauty, the rose oil game is serious business. It's so valuable, it's called liquid gold. And yes, there have been real cases of rose oil theft involving underground smuggling rings. That's how much this stuff is worth. So next time you spray perfume and it lingers like magic, there's a good chance that magic was born in the soft pink heart of Bulgaria. Number 4. The most accurate calendar. Timekeeping is something we take for granted. Seconds tick by, days blur. Calendars tell us what's next. But how do you measure time, really measure it, with such precision that even modern astronomers take notes? The answer? Look to Bulgaria. One of the most mathematically accurate calendars in history didn't come from Rome or China. It came from the ancient Bulgars, and modern experts are still impressed by what they achieved. Recognized by UNESCO in 1976 as one of the most precise ancient calendars ever recorded, the Bulgarian calendar is based on a 12-year cycle, similar in structure to the Chinese zodiac, but refined to such a degree that its solar calculations matched modern data with uncanny accuracy. It didn't use months like January or March. It used deeply symbolic animal signs and fixed solar events, organized in cycles that synced perfectly with the sun's movements across the year. Some historians believe it may have originated over 5,000 years ago, placing it alongside humanity's earliest written knowledge. But here's the jaw-dropper. Ancient Bulgars, a nomadic warrior people, weren't just building forts. They were tracking celestial patterns more precisely than many settled civilizations. So how did they do it? How did a tribe with no telescopes and no satellites craft a system so precise that even today's tech-backed calendars can barely outperform it? That's the mystery Bulgaria leaves us, and we're just scratching the surface. If you're loving these hidden truths, make sure to subscribe right now so we can keep bringing you more lost genius, wild traditions, and historical game changers that textbooks never mentioned. Number 3. Almost 1/3 of Bulgaria is covered in forests. Picture a place where the horizon doesn't end in skyscrapers, but in endless waves of green. Not just parks or tree-lined boulevards, but vast, ancient forests where wild things still roam, and silence has a heartbeat. Roughly 1/3 of Bulgaria's landscape is blanketed in forest. That's millions of acres wrapped in pine, oak, and beech, home to creatures you'd expect to see in fairy tales. Brown bears, wolves, wild boar, and golden eagles slicing through mountain air. Walk into the Central Balkan Range, and you'll find yourself swallowed by wilderness so untouched it feels prehistoric. Fog rolls between mossy stones. Trees groan like old souls. Some trails haven't heard a human footstep in weeks. And the history? It's buried in bark. Tucked inside this emerald sweep are ruins older than entire countries. Forgotten shrines, rebel hideouts, and monasteries carved straight into cliffs. But here's what really stuns people. This isn't a sliver of untouched land. It's a full 30% of Bulgaria's territory, preserved, protected, and teeming with biodiversity. While much of Europe has traded forest for farmland or concrete, Bulgaria kept its wild heart beating. Where else can you find that balance? Where nature is not just a backdrop, but a living, breathing force that still shapes daily life. Number 2. Bulgarians spill water in front of the door for success. Before a job interview, before an exam, before stepping into a new chapter of life. Something unusual happens outside many Bulgarian doorsteps. A quiet ritual, a swift motion, a bowl of water poured onto the ground. This isn't about superstition. It's about intention. Bulgarians spill water at the doorstep to bless a journey with ease, so that everything ahead flows as smoothly as water itself. It's quick, humble, and oddly beautiful. No chants, no fanfare. Just the simple sound of water hitting stone, and the silent hope that whoever walks through that door returns with good news. And it's not reserved for big moments either. A child's first day of school? Splash. A parent heading off to a business deal? Splash. Even athletes have been known to step over fresh water before competitions. What's stunning is how this tiny act has endured for centuries. No matter how much the world changes, the idea remains. Let the path ahead be calm, steady, and full of good fortune. In a world rushing to predict outcomes, this tradition simply blesses the beginning. Number 1. Bulgarian yogurt is the best in the world. It's creamy, tart, and holds a secret that scientists and chefs can't stop talking about. This isn't just any dairy product. Bulgarian yogurt is considered the best in the world, and the reason isn't flavor alone. It's science. The magic comes from a unique bacteria called Lactobacillus bulgaricus, found only in this region. This tiny microbe gives the yogurt its unmistakable tang and legendary health benefits. It boosts digestion, strengthens the immune system, and has even been linked to increased longevity. Locals have been making it the same way for centuries. Simple ingredients, slow fermentation, no shortcuts. In the Rhodope Mountains, where villagers often live past 90, many swear their long lives begin with a spoonful of yogurt each morning. Even global brands have tried to replicate the taste, but without the native strain, they can only get close. Bulgarian yogurt isn't just food, it's a national treasure. So next time you're picking yogurt off the shelf, ask yourself, is it just a snack? Or is it a centuries-old superfood perfected by a nation that knows how to make time and milk work in its favor? Bulgaria isn't just another dot on the map. It's a hidden giant of culture, invention, and wild beauty. If these mind-blowing facts opened your eyes even a little, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs a little wonder in their day. Trust me, we've barely scratched the surface. More surprises from around the world are coming. Stay curious, stay tuned,